here we are out here tonight working on this project. We've got some winter wheat hay we're putting up. It was winter wheat seeded last fall onto winter triticale stubble, and it was kind of an experiment, but it came up with a lot of volunteer triticale. So we just decided, instead of risking having a bunch of mixed grain that is going to get discounted or rejected, that we're just going to put it up for hay a second year. And it's a great crop. It would have yielded really good as winter wheat, but it's doing very good for hay too. I think what I've done so far, I'm expecting this to probably, we're going to do over 5,000 pounds an acre, I think, average. And we've just been out here for the last few days, a few nights working on it. The conditions have been pretty good. We have had a couple showers and kind of slowed us down, but it's kind of getting dry in the evening, so then we bail pretty late into the night. And my rake guy, he goes for a while ahead of me, and I'm having to stop so often that he can rake for a few hours in the evening and into the early night, and then I'm kind of good to run till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to kind of catch up to him. So it's been working okay. And we're out here in the old the 8830 Ford that we're baling with. We use it a little bit to last spring for a little bit of light tillage and stuff, but this is one of the main jobs I do with it, and it works really good. And some people might think that a 170 horsepower tractor is too much for a round baler, but when we're putting up this kind of hay, it's ideal in my opinion, especially when we get into some hills. It's got enough power to keep pulling things along, and it runs nice and cool, and it's just a big heavy tractor and rides smooth, and just for an old tractor, it's a pretty good match for a hand tractor. And we got the New Holland BR7090 hooked up behind, and we're net wrapping everything. And it's a few years old. Baler's got, I think we're about ready to hit 14,000 bales total on it, but it's been a good baler. It's had some breakdowns and it has some things for sure, but overall it's steady, and it's a hay pig, that's for sure. We can kind of just stay out here all night long, just steady, just roll these bales up. And I'm sure you can hear my beeper in the background. It's going off pretty often. We're making a bale, I think, probably average, we're probably turning around a bale every minute, close to it. By the time you take time for your headlands and whatnot, I can't keep that pace up all the time. But I think we're probably hitting close to we're probably averaging around 45 bales an hour or so here on this project. And most of the time with this baler and this tractor and setup and stuff, I can bale basically as fast as I want to, as fast as the ground will allow me. But there is some of these swales tonight that is actually slowing me down a little bit. I'm having to gear down a little bit. And I just figure when you got a 170 horsepower tractor and you've got a baler hooked up behind, and she's smoking and pulling hard, you probably put a lot of pressure on things, and it's okay to back her off just a notch, because at the end of the day, I kind of need a tractor and I need a baler to keep operating too. So we could probably force it and shove a little bit more through there, but we kind of want stuff to stick around and work too. So it's just kind of back and forth, steady, kicking out these bales. Oh, kind of bumpy there, sorry about that. And our hope is we're going to try to market all this hay. I'm going to try to sell all this. For the most part, we might keep a little bit for our own use as well. We have a pretty good pile of winter triticale that we're actually headed there with the swather tomorrow. We got caught up on this, and hopefully I should get this field done tonight. There's an 82-acre field, and I started at about 7:30. We're just going to kind of work on it until we get done, hopefully. So I'm expecting there'll be somewhere around 300 bales, 325 bales probably out here. We've been averaging, we're pushing close to 4 bales an acre. And I know it varies a little bit, bale size, bale weight, and everything. That's not the tell-all. You know, tonnage is kind of the bottom line. And we make I got my baler set at 66 inches, but usually by the time I get it kicked in neutral and get stopped, it's at 68. And I could, you know, you can go up to a 72, but then you're borderline overloading your chamber all the time, and it just puts extra pressure on rollers and bearings and things. And I guess I've ran a New Holland baler since 1998, and I've had enough practice with bearings and rollers that I don't need to do it for fun. So we try to keep it kind of a happy medium, and I run about 1500 psi with this grain hay, and I know you can run more. When I first had this baler, we would run up over 1800 psi, and we would make a 17 to 1800 pound bale that was you know, only about a 66 or 68 inch bale. But it was awful hard on the baler. And then on the other side of things, it gets pretty heavy on my truck, and it gets a lot for the loaders to lift around all day long too. So we create a few more loads of hay to haul doing it that way, but I think the payoff is still worth it, because we're able to not be so hard on our equipment and stuff. So I guess that's why we choose to do it. I know there's guys out there that you can do more. I've done more. I'm not against doing it. I just know from experience that it's gonna put up more wear and tear on your baler, I guess. And if you're able to trade your balers at every 6,000-7,000 bales, and that works for you, I'd say you bet. Run that sucker and pack that stuff in there and make big old tight bales and get your tonnage off the field. And I mean, there's benefits of that too, and I totally get that, because nobody has enough time to haul all their hay, it seems like, in the fall. But that's just kind of how we look at it. This old tractor got its factory lights, but they're not very good, or they weren't great. So we added a set of these LED lights out front and mounted them on there's a grill guard up there for the loader. And we mounted them up there, and there was an existing set of little round halogen lights. And I left them on and just kind of tipped them out to the side for a little better. You kind of see off there to the side where the LEDs kind of stop, those little halogens. But it gives you just a little extra look at the side windrows and the window corner and stuff, which is kind of nice. And then also, this tractor has, I'll call them stadium lights, or lights up above the cab. But when you turn them on, I just feel like it doesn't really give me a whole lot more view out front. It creates quite a bit of glare just right in my face here, off the window and off the hood. So it does, you can see here now, it does give you more light on the sides, which sometimes is nice. But when I'm on these nice, long straight run fields, I'm not that concerned about, turning a lot or what's out there. So I generally just run them off. and it's just way less glare, and my LEDs light my window up real well, and I can see good. So, and they weren't expensive, fancy lights. I don't know the brand. They were some I got off Amazon a couple years ago. Put them on there. They work great. And back here, there's a couple lights up above that shine and make it pretty good. But then I added on each fender here, on each side, I added an LED, and it really lights up back there, so you can just get a good feel for where you're at in the field, and kind of don't lose track of your surroundings. I know when I was younger and when I was a kid, I baled a lot of nights with, we had an 8050 Alice Chalmers, and it just had the factory lights, and they, I mean, you could see right in front of you, you kind of see what you're doing, but man, you'd have to get lost out in the field, and I like these bigger lights, better lights. You just kind of know where you're at, and that's really handy. So that was just a little addition to put on. Don't have $100 total in all the lights added, but it makes a huge difference on being able to see, and then especially at night, operator fatigue is a pretty big deal. If a guy can lessen that at all, it helps a lot. One thing I don't like particularly about the New Holland baler here, this series, is in the series before I had a 780 before this. It was the same style, not near as good of a baler, but this little deck right there, it just piles up with little pieces of hay and chaff and dust, whatever's there, and it just builds up. And I get out there usually once a night when I'm done to kind of kick it off, clean it off, and whatnot, kind of check the baler over for hot things and fire hazards and stuff. But if you ever have to do work up there on any of those upper bearings, though, it is nice to be able, you can just stand up there really nice and work. So it's definitely a pros and cons thing, but some days you wonder if it's worth it though. But then when you got to get up there, then all of a sudden it looks pretty good. So we leave it alone. Not much I can do about it if I wanted to anyway. The newer series, the 560s, don't have that. They have a different style front, rounded front, and they look nice and they work great. I think they made improvements on those, and it made them a better baler than these as well. And but this has been a really good baler overall. Some of the little problems that I had with the 780, that, well, I call them little. They kind of get to be big problems. They kind of fixed them on this one and made a lot better baler. From a distance, they look exactly the same, but the improvements are great. Anybody that's ran both of them would agree. So that's my thought on that. I'm not trying to be a salesman, but I like the New Hollands. I've ran John Deere's a lot. Ran some Vermeers. I got no complaints about either one of them either. They're good balers. This is what I like. This is what we use, and it works well. So we're going to keep working out here tonight. There's not a lot of super exciting things at the moment. I'll try to get a picture, maybe some daylight hours of our bales. They're pretty close together. Pretty tight out in this field. It's going to be nice for hauling and bunching and stuff, because they're going to be close, and that part's going to be nice. So it will be a project for sure, but it looks like this project, hopefully, if we can get it marketed. Sometimes selling hay is a little tricky. It's definitely a supply and demand market, a true supply and demand market. If there's no demand, it's tough to move, but I think we can get her done. Looks like it should be a profitable project, and maybe not quite as much of what a big winter wheat crop was going to bring, but I was nervous about the mixed grain, that we were going to have a lot of trouble, and I didn't really want to have thousands and thousands of bushels of wheat that the elevator was going to try to say was feed and wasn't going to buy from me. So didn't think it's worth the risk. We're getting a great job done here, and making some nice feed, and I think it's going to work good. So that's our project for tonight. If anything cool comes along, I'll make sure to catch it. Hope things are going well. Thanks for watching.